I don't know how to begin this without sounding like the bad one. My name's Lena. I'm 46. I teach yoga and breathing to women who forget to breathe for themselves. I remind them of softness and stillness, even when I can't seem to find mine. And maybe that's the problem. Somewhere along the way, I stopped being held like I mattered. And I started unraveling, quietly, like a thread you don't notice until the sweater's ruined. Mark used to trace my spine in the mornings, just to make me smile. That was his thing, teasing affection, fingertips down my back, always with a kiss on my temple. I used to melt under it. It felt real. Intimate. Ours. But now when he pulls me into his arms, it feels like a habit. Like he's reaching for something automatic, not me. The kisses are quick. Distracted. Last night, he kissed my cheek when I handed him his coffee, and for some reason, I felt my stomach drop. Like I was his assistant. Not his wife. This morning, when I leaned into his hug before work, I felt him pat my back twice. Not a rub. Not a linger. 2 hard taps, like closing a laptop. I stood in the hallway after he left, still holding the smell of his cologne, and I realized, there's a space between us now. It used to be warm. Now it's silent. And maybe it's been that way for longer than I want to admit. The exact moment I knew something had changed? It was 2 weeks ago. I was washing the dishes. He came up behind me, kissed my neck, and I flinched. Not because I didn't want him to. But because I didn't expect it. And that scared me. Mark thinks love is in the doing. He wakes up early to warm my car in the winter. He fixes the leaky kitchen pipe before I even notice it's dripping. He folds laundry with military corners and leaves my favorite almond granola in the cabinet, like it means something. And I guess it does. I guess it's his way. But it's not my way. Last Thursday, I came home late from class. My body ached from overextending in pigeon pose, and my head was cluttered from holding space for other women's grief. I needed stillness. Connection. A look. A breath. Maybe just, "Are you okay?" Instead, Mark met me at the door, shirtless and grinning. "I lit candles," he said, proudly. "Wine's open. Come upstairs." I stood in the hallway, shoes still on, shoulders heavy. "I just need a minute," I whispered. But his hands were already on my hips, lips at my collarbone, thinking I needed romance. I didn't know how to say, "Not now." Not without making him feel rejected. Not without adding to this quiet, growing distance. So I kissed him back, mechanically. Let his touch wander. Waited for the feeling to catch up. It didn't. Later, in bed, I stared at the ceiling while he traced patterns on my thigh. He thought it was tenderness. To me, it felt like a question I didn't have the answer to. And when he whispered, "You're so quiet lately," I almost told him the truth. I don't know how to be close to you when I don't feel seen. But I didn't. I just kissed his forehead and said, "I'm tired." He pulled me into his chest and held me like that solved something. Like he was trying. But all I felt was the growing ache of what we weren't saying. I used to crave Mark's hands on me. His touch once felt like electricity, grounding and wild. Now, I brace for it. Not because I don't want him. Because I want him, and I don't. It's like something in me curled up when I wasn't looking. Last night, we were watching that dumb show he loves, Cops Chasing Ghosts or something. I wasn't really paying attention. My legs were pulled up under me on the couch, curled in like protection. He reached over, casually smacked my ass and grinned. "You've still got it," he joked. I forced a smile. I said, not looking at him. I know it was supposed to be playful. I know that used to make me laugh. But now? I felt my whole body tighten. Not in fear. Just in resignation. Like I was being dragged into something I hadn't agreed to. He leaned in for a kiss, warm and full of effort, but my lips stayed still too long before I remembered to move them. I saw the flicker in his eyes, a pause, a question, but he didn't say anything. And maybe that's the problem. We don't fight. We don't talk. We just keep touching like it's the answer. But I'm not sure what the question even is anymore. This morning, he came up behind me while I was making eggs, wrapped his arms around my waist, and pressed a kiss just under my ear. I didn't pull away. I just didn't lean in. Inside, I was screaming, not now. Not like this. Ask me something real first. But out loud? I just said, eggs are burning. And the worst part is, I don't think he even noticed. I sat with that all day. Why does everything have to turn into sex? It started over chicken. He'd grilled it, his signature honey glaze, which he proudly announced as he plated it, sliding the dish in front of me like a prize. I smiled politely. Thanks. We sat in silence, chewing, forks clinking. The TV buzzed low in the background, but not loud enough to distract from how loud everything wasn't. Mark poured me wine and nudged the glass toward me. You've been tense, he said. I thought a nice dinner might help. I nodded. It's fine. He sighed, setting his glass down. Lena, come on. I'm trying here. And something cracked. It wasn't dramatic. No yelling. No slamming chairs. Just a sudden wave that rose so fast I couldn't stop it. I put my fork down and stared at the chicken. My voice trembled. You think wine and dinner make it better? He blinked. What are you talking about? You touch me like I'm some puzzle you can solve with sex and food. Like I'm not allowed to just be off. Mark's jaw clenched. I'm doing what I can, Lena. What am I supposed to do? I kiss you, you flinch. I touch you, you go stiff. What do you want from me? I want you to see me. I finally snapped, tears rising. Not just reach for me when you're lonely or horny. Not assume I'm fine because I smiled at breakfast. His face went red. So it's wrong to want my wife now? That's when he said it, soft, but full of weight. I thought it was wrong, but it felt so right. And that hit me in a place I didn't expect. Because I knew what he meant. I'd been pulling away for months. He felt it. And every time he reached for me, physically, it was him trying to hold on. Trying to feel us again. Even when I wasn't there. I started crying. Right there, over the chicken. He looked stunned. Almost hurt. And then he just got quiet. We didn't finish dinner. I went upstairs. He stayed downstairs. For the first time in 12 years of marriage, we slept in separate beds, without ever deciding to. It's been 2.5 weeks since the chicken dinner. 2.5 weeks of cold coffee, quiet footsteps, and polite avoidance. Mark still folds the laundry. I still make the bed. We share space like polite strangers in a hotel room, careful not to bump into each other. Our routines are intact, but the S in them is gone. And still, I miss him. Not the touches. Not the eager hands or awkward kisses. I miss before. When our silence felt safe. When his presence steadied me instead of making me ache. I watch him sometimes when he doesn't know. Like this morning, he sat at the kitchen table, glasses perched low, reading the paper like always. But his shoulders were slumped in a way that was new. His hands gripped the coffee mug too tightly. And there was a crease in his forehead that didn't used to be there. He looked lonely. Or maybe just tired. It hit me harder than I expected. He's hurting too. I'm not the only one unraveling here. He doesn't knock on my studio door anymore when I'm meditating. He used to slip in quietly, lie on the mat beside me and just breathe. Now he leaves me alone. Completely. And isn't that what I said I wanted? Space? But it doesn't feel like space. It feels like a cliff. Yesterday, I found a note on the bathroom counter. His handwriting. Just 3 words. Still love you. I stared at it until my eyes burned. We haven't talked about that night. We haven't touched since. But that note, it cracked something open. Not fully. Not enough. Just enough for me to wonder. Do I want this to be the end? Or is there something still here, beneath the habits and silence and ache? I stood in the mirror for a long time, looking at my own reflection like a stranger. Maybe it's not about what he stopped doing. Maybe it's about what I stopped saying. Tomorrow, I'll try. One real conversation. And if it fails, at least I'll know. I found him on the back porch the next evening, his hoodie pulled over his head, legs stretched out, drink in hand. The summer air was thick with heat and silence. He didn't look up when I stepped out. He just said, "Want some," and pushed the glass toward me without meeting my eyes. I sat down beside him. "Not yet," I said. "First, I need to talk." That got his attention. He turned slightly, careful. Guarded. "I've been pushing you away," I started, "and I need to say that out loud. Not because I want you to fix it. Because I want to stop pretending you're the only one confused." He exhaled. "You think I haven't noticed?" "I know you have," I said quietly. "I've just been so angry. Not at you, at me. At how easy it is to disappear into routine. At how I didn't even notice when our kisses started feeling like obligations." Mark looked at me then, really looked. "You think I don't miss us too, Lena?" His voice cracked when he said it, and I saw it, the weight he'd been carrying alone. "I thought I could bring us back with touch," he continued. "Sex, closeness, whatever. It felt right. Even when it was clearly wrong for you." I blinked hard. "That night, when you said that? It felt so right?" He nodded, eyes down. "I meant I knew it wasn't working. But I kept trying. Because if I stopped, I didn't know what would be left." I reached for his hand. For the first time in weeks, he didn't flinch. We sat like that for a long time. Fingers barely touching. Eventually, he pulled me close. Not with urgency. Not with expectation. Just warmth. He kissed my forehead, gently. Then rested his chin on my head. That was all. No sex. No fix. No magic undoing of the ache. Just a quiet agreement, we're not okay, but maybe we want to be. And somehow, that was enough for tonight. I used to think relationships ended with a bang. A betrayal. A dramatic walkout. A slammed door. But the truth is, most of them end slowly. In silence. In the small moments you stop reaching, and stop being reached for. That's what happened to us. Mark didn't stop loving me. I didn't stop needing him. We just forgot how to see each other in the noise of life. In the doing, the solving, the trying so hard not to fail that we forgot to ask, "Are you okay?" and mean it. I told myself his touch annoyed me because I wasn't in the mood. But it wasn't about mood, it was about meaning. About needing emotional closeness before physical closeness could feel real. And he told himself if he kept holding me, kissing me, pulling me in, eventually I'd come back. We were both trying. Just not in the ways the other could feel. That night he said, "I thought it was wrong, but it felt so right, I heard it differently than I do now." Back then, it sounded selfish. Like he wanted me when I wasn't ready. But now? I hear the ache in it. He knew I was gone. He felt it in his bones. And touching me was his last way of saying, "Please don't disappear. We're not magically fixed. This isn't a neat ending." But something changed that night on the porch. Not because we found a solution. But because we finally told the truth. And the truth is, I still love him too. Even when it's hard. Even when I don't feel like myself. Even when I forget how to show it. So now, we start slower. Not with touch. but with talks, glances, pauses, apologies. Healing isn't loud. It's quiet. Like a hand resting gently on your back just long enough to say, I'm still here. And some nights, that's everything.